Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. It's Chosen Violence today. So as you guys can see from today's title, I just thought we would do a fun sit down video where we basically just compare different book covers in the UK versus the US. This video has been done 1,000,001 times, but I've never done it myself. So we have found some different book covers and we're just gonna judge the hell out of them essentially. So if that sounds like something you would enjoy, feel free to stick around. We're just gonna get straight into this because I wanna keep it short and sweet. So I'll have like US this side, UK this side, but let's get straight into it. Let's start with the Emily Henry books. We're not gonna do an individual one. I'm just gonna like stick all of her books on here. So my personal preference is that I prefer the US covers. I just think the US covers are so much nicer. I actually purchased the first 3 books that she ever released in the American covers because I hated the neon covers that these UK editions are. I've only sort of started to prefer the UK editions with Happy Place and Funny Story. I think the color scheme that they're going with for those 2 books, so much nicer than the neon monstrosities that they've given us. But for the most part, I do just think that the US editions are much nicer. Like the pictures and the covers, everything that they have, like I don't know, they're more cute, they're more fun. To me, Beach Read are book lovers and You and Me on Vacation, I don't know, to me they're just neon nightmares and I hate them, but like I really love how the US editions look beautiful. I will say that with her new book, A Big Beautiful Life, I think I prefer the UK edition over the US edition, but we'll wait till I can get my hands on an actual copy. And then another author who has different versions for the UK and US is Beth O. I don't hear people talking about her books very much, but I do quite enjoy them. So these are the US and these are the UK covers. I prefer the UK covers, which is what I get. I do think the US ones are really quite cute, especially the No-Show. I think that's adorable, but like the switch I hate. I much prefer what we have in the UK, and I should have said UK and Australia get the same covers. I will say that the only thing I actually prefer though is the US edition of Swept Away. I think is much superior to the UK edition. I just think that the couple on the boat hugging is stunning and the colors are gorgeous, and I think it looks really beautiful, whereas the UK edition looks just a little cheap. I just much prefer how the UK editions look. I think they're simpler, more streamlined. There's no people on it, which people can make covers look weird, so I personally just prefer them. Except the road trip is cool. I must say, I think I kind of prefer the font though for the US editions. They look cooler. The No-Show cover, I do really like the 3 different women, and I do think the way that they've done that is really brilliant, and I do prefer it to like the UK edition of No-Show where it's just like the 2 empty chairs. So Emily Wilde's Map of the Other Lands, or Emily Wilde's Encyclopedia for Fairies, Emily Wilde's Compendium of something, whatever the new one is. I pity everyone in the US is all I have to say. These are horrible. Like, I'm zooming in. They're so ugly. Like, I feel like they fit the theme of the books and they look kind of more journalistic, which is how the story is written, but they're ugly. Like, I'm sorry, why would you want the US editions over the UK editions right here? Like, these are stunning. These are cute. These are gonna look gorgeous on your bookshelves. I personally would just get rid of the books if this is what my editions look like. And I 100% would be buying the UK editions if I lived in the US. Like, the colors are horrible. They're so dark and dreary. I hate the use of the font. Yeah, it's just a no from me. And then you've got like the UK editions, which are like, the Map of the Other Lands is stunning, first of all. I think it's gorgeous. The 3rd cover is the better one. Yeah, I think it screams more fairy, which is not necessarily a bad thing. I think the US screams more journal, UK screams more like fairy side of things. I'm going UK all the way with this one, 100%. This is a book that I actually haven't read. It's The Invisible Life of Addie Laro by V.E. Schwab. I think it's very obvious that the better one is the UK edition. I'm guessing it's the UK one because that's what I think we can get in Australia, and I'm presuming this black one is the US edition. But I just think it's boring. Like, it's black or it's a dark brown with some bronze colored font, and that is it. And to me, that's boring. And then you have the UK edition where it's blue. We've got some flowers. There's a bit more color. It's a bit more interesting. Yeah, the UK one just looks much nicer. Oh, and then we have Bable by R.F. Quang. We have the US edition, which has the building in the center with then like the yellow or gold text and like, I guess, the city. And then you have the UK edition here where the title's down the middle and kind of like separates the city. I think I prefer the UK edition. Like, I do like how the US edition has like the yellow font, but I kind of like how the title gets down the middle of that really tall building. I haven't read it, so I don't understand the significance of that building, but I mean, yeah, I guess it depends on what you want the focal to be, the title or the building, but I don't know, there's something about the UK one that I do prefer. And then we go into the Harry Potter series by J.K. Rowling. So the US ones, I don't even know what edition this is, but it's the Scholastic ones. Then we have the really cute ones by Bloomsbury that were done in the UK and Australia. And I'm just gonna come out and say that I much prefer the UK editions. I really love how all 7 of the covers are a different shade except for the first and the 7th one. They're both purple, but like the gold that they've used for the Harry Potter with like the stars on the front, they're a little reflective. They're stunning. I think that the artist did a fantastic job with them. I think that they cover like the essence of each story really well. The artist did a great job of drawing Harry, whereas on the Scholastic one, his face looks a little funky. Yeah, no, I much prefer like the look of the Phoenix in the UK edition, the basilisks. I don't know, I feel like the coloring suits the book better, because when I think of Chamber of Secrets, I don't think of red. I don't know, I just think that these covers capture kind of the fact that it's more like a children's book, but not entirely, but they've got the darkness to it, and I just think that the artist has done a better job. Oh, and then we have another book that I actually haven't read. It's Normal People by Sally Rooney. Straight up prefer the US edition 100%. I don't like that on the UK one it's this weird shade of green. I don't even know what color is that. Citrus. The text is nothing text, like it's fine, but then like I don't like, why is it a can and there's 2 people hugging in it? That to me is just odd. I also don't like when they put like awards that people have won on books. And then we go to the US edition and it's like 6 people in a swimming pool and it just looks cooler. We've got what, 2 guys at the front with 2 girls on the top and they're playing some sort of game to knock one another off. Further away you've got another male and female talking, and I don't know, I feel like you get more from that cover. I love the color blue. Obviously, I'm going with the book with the blue cover, but I just think that it does a much better job of possibly conveying what's going in this story. Like, I look at the first one and I just think it's going to be some weird novel when I say the UK one. So definitely US has won this one. And then we go into Taylor Jenkins Reid for Malibu Rising, which is the covers that we're looking at. I don't like that hot pink tone on the blue of the cover. The yellow is fine, but we've got 4 people surfing. I don't like how some of the cover looks like there's clouds. I don't think that works with the bluest. Not a fan of this one. I much prefer the UK edition. I think I prefer the title in the lower cases along with her name. There's something about the fact that it's just the wave being captured at like either sunset or sunrise with the birds and the palm tree. Colors for me just work a lot better and nothing looks really off-putting. I like that the title is changing different shades based on where it's positioned. Not gonna lie, I don't love that best-selling author sticker. I do think that I prefer when they're gonna do promo for other books that they do what they've done on the US edition where they put it at the top in the text. That looks like it's just part of the normal book. But yeah, I'm gonna have to go with the UK edition on this, which seems to be my preference. I seem to be picking more UK books because I just can't help myself. We have to do our Sarah J Maas covers. So the Throne of Glass series, we have the US editions here, and they are the ones with the solid covers. I'm just going to do the original ones, not the new ones. We've got these solid colors here on all of them. I hate the Kingdom of the Ash is that yellow color. It doesn't match the theme of the others. The UK editions, which is what I own and read, which is the white covers with then the character on the front. Straight up, I'm going UK. I just think that those covers look better because the artist has been able to put a bit more detail into the character and what's behind them because they've got that solid white cover on the back. They've been able to put in more details that I just think it looks nicer. It looks more epic. It looks more cool. The only downside to the white is that it gets very dirty, but I do just think the UK covers look far better. And then we go into Caraval by Stephanie Garber. I feel like this bluey one might actually be the UK edition, but I could be wrong on that. I think I'm gonna go whichever one is the black cover. I feel like it's potentially the US just because I don't recall ever having seen it here in Australia, whereas I feel like I've seen the blue one. I just think that the black cover with the white text and then like the red sort of firework that changes colors, I just think that that stands out better. I think the font that they've chosen is interesting. That tagline I just feel like goes with the font of the book, like how they've written Caraval. They've then put Stephanie Garber's name in a similar sort of style, so I do quite like how they've done that. Whereas on what I believe is the UK edition, the Caraval's very fancy and it's like a star and then there's red and the blue. I don't like it as much. I'm gonna go the black edition to whoever that belongs to. And then we have the Divergent series by Veronica Roth. We have the cityscape with like the circle and then there's something in the circle and then the name of the book underneath. I just think that they look cooler with like the person walking away than like the one I'm looking at is Insurgent with like the leaves and the colors. I don't know. I just think that they look cooler and more mysterious. The American ones probably play into it a little bit better because the circle thing's representative of like the different stones that they have to pick for the different communities they can go to. I just think that the UK editions look cooler. We've got another Stephanie Garber and it's Once Upon a Broken Heart, which I've also not read. So we have what I believe is the American edition, which is the black book with the white text. And then is that supposed to be a heart? Like, I don't know. Is it a broken heart? I don't know, the twirlings. I mean, it looks cool, but I feel like I get nothing for what the story's about. And then we have the UK edition, which is super interesting because we have these like two knight statues, but one's missing a head. There's an apple. The text is in the middle. We've got like a little archway thing with some foxes. I don't know, like, I guess having not read the story, I'm not really across what happens, but I do believe it's more of a fantasy novel. So I feel like the US edition kind of gives more adult romance, literature, fiction story, contemporary. Whereas if it's a fantasy novel, I'm getting more of those vibes from the UK edition. I do think the UK ones do trump the US editions. And then we come to The Hating Game by Sally Thorne. So I'm really on the fence as to which one I prefer. So we've got the US edition, which has the two main characters, and The Hating Game, I really hate how they write a novel on a book and then the author's name, and that's literally it. It just seems very clean cut. I don't really love the font of The Hating Game and how it looks like it's been scrolled in and it goes like around the people, but then it goes over her. Don't love that. And then we just have the UK edition, which to me just screams a little bit messy. So we obviously have them in a room. They're on their computers typing. We've got the squiggles above their heads and then the author's name on the floor and then The Hating Game in yellow. And now that I'm looking at it, I do think I actually prefer the UK edition just because I think you get a bit more that it's like a workplace romance, enemies to lovers kind of scenario. I think the colors work better. Also, you can't see the people's faces, and I do think the guy and girl's faces look a little bit weird on the US edition. So I think I'm going to go the UK edition, plus I also prefer that teal color on the UK edition. Alrighty guys, so I hope you've enjoyed this video. Like I said, it was just a little fun come judge book covers with me. I should have said this at the start, but please feel free to play along. If you did, put in the comments below which covers you preferred out of these ones, and I will see you guys next week for another video. Bye!